Cash, watch your tail, bud.
All right, guys, welcome our first official podcast here at the Kodiak Kooz channel. We're here with Jared.
Hello.
And Kodiak Cash, which is my parents' dog that I'm dog sitting currently. Cash, what do you think? There you go.
Straight from Cash's mouth.
Straight from the man himself, or dog. So a couple things. We got a lot of stuff planned coming up in the near future here. We're trying to get a video out, once a week, Jared?
Once a week, yeah.
Yeah, once a week. So hopefully we'll give you guys some cool adventures. We got something really fun planned for this current weekend that we're filming. I feel really confident about it. Jared, you feel confident about it?
Yeah, I think it'll be cool. You know, it's kind of just, I guess a little sneak peek would be, it's going to be kind of a new series maybe. I don't know, at least one video, but of kind of like dark history or kind of maybe stuff that has happened locally or in the area that have kind of gone like under the radar, and I don't know, I think it'll be cool.
Me too.
Yeah.
You hear something downstairs.
Yeah, he's perched up.
So far, I mean, I feel like everything's been going pretty good.
I think so. Yeah, we got 2 videos up. By the time this goes out, there should be 3 on the channel. So yeah, we did mining, we did kind of cooking in the woods, and then we made some crab in the hot tent. That was pretty cool. I don't know, what would you say is your favorite part so far?
Maybe the mine. I like the mine.
I think that was cool. I think that was a really fun way to start off the channel too. It just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something about that thumbnail and stuff, just like, you know, it kind of looked like, I don't know, it was just cool.
Dude, the first time I saw that thing, that mine, that cave, whatever you want to call it, I was so spooked out.
Yeah.
So literally I was on leave, I think right when I got back from Korea, and, you know, our buddies, they were like, dude, we're going to go explore this abandoned cave or mine or whatever. I mean, it's a mine. We always refer to it as the caves, but...
Yeah.
So they pick me up. We drive there. It's about 1:30 in the morning. Pull off in that church parking lot, right, kind of close to where we parked.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what to expect. And it's like the middle of winter, super cold out, probably January time frame. And we go around the bend, actually where that log was that we shot. And all of a sudden, I just see that giant opening, and I go, holy moly.
It's kind of interesting. Like I said, the first time I came up to it was, we were on top there, and then, like, we climbed down into it. So I didn't see the big, like, opening until we got down in there, and it was, like, you know, it's gated up, so I'm like, wow, there's a lot of light. And then, like, I turn around, and it's just, like, this huge opening, and you're like, huh. I did not know it was a mine, though, until you told me when we filmed that video.
Yeah, so a couple years ago when we started going to this bar for our viewers, it's called the Ship and Shore.
Yeah.
It's different now, but it used to be kind of like a dive bar. But there's this guy in there that I would always see. His name's Don. I don't know if you ever meet him. Yeah, he's a real cool dude. He's from Akron, and he knew all about it.
Oh, wow.
So me and John would go there and just pick his brain about it. And he'd be like, oh, there's a mine here, 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 here. And in fact, there's another one close to there. I'm probably 90% sure I know like its exact location. Huh. But I want to check that out. It just, we need to get permission before we do that. But.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's always a good thing. Yeah, don't just go trespassing.
But, no, I think... hopefully they'll be cool with it.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to that mine too and kind of check out that room that you found towards the end. Yeah. You know, and then tonight had a fall and I could barely get any grip with the shoes I was wearing, but I'd definitely like to go back in there. And I have not been on like that side of the mine.
I didn't even know that existed. But also I was really confused. You were 100% right. You go, dude, it's literally a big circle.
Yeah.
I always thought it went, you know, who knows? And the last 3 times I've been in there, I always get lost. That's why we have the yarn.
Yeah.
Courtesy of the yarn barn. You know? But yeah, no, I want to explore. And that, it's interesting because it's heading north. When the rest of the mine, it goes east and west.
Yeah. I just wonder how far back it goes. I don't know. Be cool. I'm sure we'll revisit it and maybe make something out of it.
Dude, it's funny. That mine, well, not mine, that cave I found right when I moved to Montana.
Yeah.
I parked my truck one day and I literally just hike up this mountain. And I'm wandering around through waist deep snow, right?
Yeah.
Middle of January or February. You know, I'm winded. And all of a sudden I see a little cave and I go, dang, that looks cool. I want to check that out.
Yeah.
But it was in a weird spot. It was kind of on the side of this draw. And I climbed down into it, but to actually climb into the cave, it was covered with a sheet of ice. So then I say to myself, well, I should probably wait. You know, I was by myself.
Yeah.
Nobody knew where I was. I had no service. So
Yeah.
months later, I went back and I'm so excited. I'm pumped, ready to go. Like, hell yeah, let's get this done.
Yeah, see where it goes.
And it was probably, I don't know, 20 feet. And it stopped. And I'm like, wow. I waited the entire winter for that.
I just remember you Snapchatting me like when you first found it, and I was like, "Oh wow, like that's so cool." And then you're like, "Yeah, when it gets a little bit nicer here, I'll go down there and check it out." Like so we talked about it for months, and then I just get a Snapchat from you, and it's like, "This is it." And it's just like like this room. They're like it wasn't like very big.
Very anticlimactic.
Yeah,
Is that a word? I don't know.
Yeah, but that's that's what happens when you explore. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But
that's right.
It's still pretty cool. I'm surprised there wasn't like a bear in there or something like hibernating for the winter.
That's why I brought my 45 with me.
Yeah,
because that is a perfect place for a grizzly bear to sleep.
Yeah,
or even a mountain lion. But I mean, realistically, unless you're a small child or a female that's small in stature. Am I saying that right?
Stature?
One of those.
Yeah.
But I don't think a mountain lion's going to mess with you. There's certain cases, but in fact, I think the state of Oregon, there's only been one mountain lion attack in 30 years.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as common as people think.
No. I think they, like, stalk a lot of people, but rarely do they ever, like, engage.
Yeah, an attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, wow, that's a big monkey.
Yeah. Like, grizzly bear is way different, though. Last summer in Montana, I think we had 3, all within 2 or 3 weeks. It was funny. It was right before my parents came up to visit.
Yeah.
And every day my dad's calling me, Code, there was another grizzly bear attack by you. He's like, you better be careful.
Yeah. No, you're careful. We had the bear rounds.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That was funny. Dude, remember when we drove out there?
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. That was a long drive. But
dude, I just remember in the morning I left my parents' house.
Yeah.
I stopped at Tim Hortons. I think got us donuts or breakfast sandwiches or something.
Coffee or something, yeah.
And we had that blizzard a few days before that.
Yeah, so we were going to leave, like, what, on Christmas? Or, like, the day after Christmas or something?
But the day after, I want to say.
But then we couldn't until, when we leave, the 28th?
28th, 29th, something like that.
But, yeah, it was, I think you even pulled up, like, on the side of the road when you got to my place because, like, you couldn't get into the condo.
Yeah.
There was still just so much snow.
Yeah. Then you came outside, you got in the truck, and I looked at you and I went, well, I guess we're going to Montana now.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like, just any other time of like, we always go on like what we call like patrols, just driving around, checking stuff out. And it just felt like we were doing that.
Yeah.
Except like, I think I looked at you and I was like, yeah, later today, we're going to be in Madison, Wisconsin.
Dude, what about when we got there? So we literally roll up to this hotel, and it was super sketchy. There's all these dudes hanging out outside, and I don't have a bed liner on my truck, right? So
tonneau cover. The tonneau cover?
Tonneau cover, yeah. And my entire life supply of stuff that I've acquired, you know, clothes, whatever. I got guns, you name it.
It's all sitting there.
Yeah. And I remember I looked at you and I was like, I don't know, man. Like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah. Like,
And
probably shouldn't leave this out here.
so then we end up bringing all of it into the hotel. And we got one of those little dolly things, carts, whatever you call it, the luggage things. And one of the side of my crates, I have these big, like, plastic, would you call it a crate?
Yeah.
Container thing. It hit the side of the door, the sliding electric door, and it made it move off track. And it was stuck open. And we're dirtbags and literally just kept going. And funny enough, in the morning it was fixed, and the same exact thing happened.
On the way out, yeah. The doors were not big enough to fit the crates, but yeah, there's no way we could have left that stuff out there.
Yeah, no, screw that.
Yeah.
When I moved back here, I didn't really care. I just parked by my window.
Yeah.
But
look outside or whatever.
Also, I don't know how. I feel like when I moved back here, can't talk. I feel like when I moved back here, I had way less stuff for some reason, which doesn't make sense. But
you definitely got rid of a lot of stuff when you came back, though.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I remember when we were in Madison as well, and you know, you're like, oh, that was a long drive, and I just like looked at you and I was like, yeah, we have to wake up in 5 hours and do that again.
Fantastic.
It was, yeah. I mean, Madison was definitely kind of strange. Like, I don't know.
Isn't that the state capital too?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was very nice. But to be granted, we were only in one specific area.
Yeah, right. We hadn't checked, but yeah, I don't know.
They
No offense, Wisconsinites, but...
Huh?
I said no offense to Wisconsinites, but, you know, that state is weird.
I like the west part of the state.
Yeah,
would
it's
be
cool.
Yeah, that was neat. It was like a bunch of hills and trees and stuff.
Yeah. So then we went from there up into North Dakota and stopped in Bismarck, which I'm pretty sure is also the capital of North Dakota.
Yeah.
And that place was cool. I thought it was all right. We just had to wait for the pizza for like
an hour.
Yeah.
I was pretty upset about that.
Yeah.
We literally drove, I think. That was our day one was our longest haul, but still, I think we drove for 9 hours or something like that. And we literally roll up, we order one pizza, and I stand in there like, sorry, we forgot to make it. Are you kidding me?
You're like, I'm the only person that ordered pizza.
Now, it was cool the next day when we got there.
Yeah.
We went over the Continental Divide.
Yeah, that was really cool, because it's just like, I think by the time we got to Bismarck, it was just like, okay, now we have just been driving for like, I don't know, 20, 21 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
And we were like, I don't know, it just didn't like really ever feel like we were going to reach Montana or something, you know, because it's just like, just a lot of nothing as you're driving through there. And then that last day, it's like, oh, you cross in, you see the Montana sign, and then like it goes from being super flat to you start like seeing some like hills and then mountains, and you're like,
we made it.
We got there. And then you look down and you're like, oh yeah, we're kind of going to like West Montana. We still have another 8 hours. But yeah.
Excuse me.
It was definitely really cool.
Then we got there and we didn't see a soul.
Yeah, it was New Year's Eve when we got there. And nobody was out. It was like, you know, I was like, I know Butte's like not as big as Buffalo, but I was like, there's still like 30,000 people here. Like,
surely we'd see somebody.
Yeah, right.
1:30 in the afternoon, you know, New Year's Eve.
Yeah, not like it was so dead quiet. Like I even like went for a walk or something that next morning, and like it was just so quiet. Like my footsteps were like ringing through the street.
All right, to be fair, it is Butte, Montana on New Year's Day.
That's true. Everyone was probably hungover.
Yeah.
Because had we known, we probably would have seen people, because Well, we were in the west side, right?
What,
When
the
we got there?
Airbnb?
Yeah. When we got in
East.
east. So we were on the east side, but like all the like bars and stuff are in like Uptown Butte.
Yeah.
So I think like had we known that, we would have seen a lot of people, but we also were like, oh yeah, we should probably go out and like check out the town like for New Year's Eve, and then we were like, we're so tired.
Yeah, it's like, we've been driving for 3 days. Let's
Yeah.
just, sleep because that's important.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, when I came up to visit you in the summer, I ended up going through South Dakota, and I thought that was a really cool route.
I wish I would have done that on my way back.
Yeah, because then you go through, I want to say it was the 212 through like East Montana. So like the 90 splits off like around Rapid City in South Dakota, and it dips down into like Wyoming before coming back up
Yeah.
into like, I think it's like Billings or something.
Mm.
But it was faster for me to just like cut through this highway, and that was like one of the coolest parts of my drive, just because it was these rolling hills for just miles and miles.
Yeah.
And it's only a 2-lane highway, like one lane going one way, one lane coming the other. So you got to pass all the trucks and stuff, but it was just crazy to see like the ranches there.
Yeah.
And just nothing but like a fence and cattle
Yeah.
for miles over these beautiful hills, and you'd come up to a town and it'd be like population 15.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was really cool.
Dude, it's funny. When I first went to Colorado, which is what got me hooked on this Western thing,
Yeah.
that was right when I got out of the Army. Flew to Denver, had no idea what to expect, and I saw mountains before in Italy, actually.
Oh yeah.
Big mountains. I think they're
That's
part
the
of
Alps, right?
Yeah, but not like the Rockies.
Mm.
We got to Denver super late. Not super late, but it was about a 5-hour drive to where we were going, right? We crossed that initial front line, or front range, I think they call it, into the mountains, and I was just truly amazed. It was crazy. 1 hour we're in luscious pine trees, and I mean, you were there with us the year after, 2 years after.
Yeah.
But that place amazes me.
Mm-hmm.
1 minute you're in pine forest, the next minute you're in the desert,
Yeah. It's definitely crazy, and maybe people are watching this that are like from the West, and maybe they don't really think of it twice, but growing up like on the East Coast and not having anything to that degree, it's like, or I remember going down in the Elkville, and there's like hills that are probably like 600 feet high, and you're like, that's the mountains. It's like
you're like, no.
Yeah. It's just definitely like culture shock.
Yeah.
But definitely cool. I thought Fairplay was cool when we were in Colorado.
It's crazy. You should see how much those houses sell for.
I don't even want to know.
Like, what do you do for work there, Unless you come from a ranching family or something like that,
I think a lot of them are probably like weekend homes for, like, high up business people in Denver or something.
Yeah, Breckenridge.
Breckenridge is
not
only
too far.
45 minutes away, yeah.
That place was kind of interesting.
Breckenridge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expensive, too.
Mm.
Crazy.
There's some college there, right? That's like pretty big.
There's one in Boulder.
Maybe that's one thing.
But Boulder's like a suburb of Denver.
Oh, okay.
Or it's like part of the metropolitan area. It's closer to the mountains, but
yeah.
In fact, Boulder is super expensive too.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, I think there was a huge wildfire about 2 years ago, and half of it burnt down, supposedly.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy because, again, it's the metropolitan area.
Yeah.
You hear stuff like that happen far up into the mountains, but, that close to Denver, pretty wild,
Yeah. It's, again, like, we don't deal with fires here. It's so odd to think about.
But I will say, the lake effect snow is 10 times worse than the snow they get up there.
Yeah.
It accumulates more, but it sticks around till May. But here, you know, in the east, we'll get 8 feet in 4 hours.
Yeah,
you know?
right. It's a different beast.
Yeah.
Because of just how hard it hits you. Yeah, that was one thing that I noticed in Montana was it wouldn't snow like a whole lot at once, but it was just always so cold that it never melted, so it just kind of like slowly built up. And one thing I was impressed with when we were there was the trails. How like they were still maintained in the winter.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like they went through with like some sort of like compactor or whatever. It was cool.
Yeah.
You're lucky if they take care of trails here in the summer.
Yeah, I know.
We're like so overgrown.
In Centerville, I can't talk. In Centerville, where I hunt, where we did that second video, apparently there's a trail system there. And mind you, I've been hunting there for 14 years.
There's trails there.
Apparently. But I was reading reviews about them, and they're all half a star. People are saying they're not maintained. You can't find your way around.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, yeah, no kidding.
That was, okay, yeah. Second video. What do you think that sound was?
I don't know, man. That was some sort of siren, but...
Yeah.
I mean, we had that fire department. It was really just one garage with, I think, one truck in it.
Yeah.
By Uncle G's Ice Cream. Every day at 5 o'clock, they would sound a siren. But
oh, really?
Yeah, this siren was weird. I don't know what that was. It wasn't an animal. It had to be some sort of siren.
No, yeah. Like, you ever hear like a broken tornado siren and like, you know, the Dust Bowl?
No.
Like, I've heard clips of it like online, and it kind of was like that, but it didn't really sound broken. Like, it sounded like it was doing what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
But it was just odd.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah. I heard it a few times, because you can hear it, like, kind of, I think I put one in near the beginning-ish of the video, and then one later on. But when I was editing, you could actually hear, you know, when you're behind the tree and you're like, oh, the fire starter.
Yeah.
Or whatever. If you have like really good headphones on and you listen while you're talking, you can hear it then too.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, huh. But definitely weird.
That's weird.
I thought it was cool though.
No, absolutely. It's funny, Fox, they make really crazy sounds.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people and I'll tell them that, and they, for some reason, never seem to believe me.
Sounds like a woman screaming or something.
Yeah, or a baby.
Yeah.
Like where we grew up, I feel like all the time it would wake me up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
You know?
We had one that was always like in our backyard. Because, you know, my neighbor had like the chickens and the sheep and all that. And so it would always try and get after the chicken or the rooster, and it would always be back there.
Yeah, one grabbed my parents' cat. And I think that's why she's kind of old now, Mika.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she doesn't go outside now.
Yeah.
Like, her paw was all jacked up for a while, and she got away. But she just stays inside now.
Yeah.
And that's really weird. I mean, all the cats I grew up with, they're always outdoor cats.
Yeah.
It was impossible to keep them inside.
Right.
You know? And then, in fact, this particular cat, my sister, we were really little kids, she goes, oh, she's going to be an indoor cat. Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Then, you know, they want to go outside.
I think with my cat growing up, Oliver, who, that cat was a trooper, lived to 19, got hit by a car twice, was always getting in the scraps when he was outside.
Dang, that old?
Yeah.
Huh.
And he was, when my family first got him, they were like, okay, he's going to be an indoor cat. And I was, you know, just a little kid. Like, they got him pretty much right when we moved in there. And I was only a few months old. And then, you know, I got a little older, maybe, I don't know, whenever you start walking around and babbling, maybe like 3 years old or whatever. I don't know.
I should know this. My sister just had her kid. I'm always asking her, when's the kid going to be able to talk?
Yeah.
Run a
But
marathon and whatnot.
I'd always see, the cat standing by the door or something, I guess, and I would just go, "Go, kitty, go!" And he just became an outdoor cat.
Let her rip, buddy.
He fell in love with going out. I mean, when he was like in his prime years,
Yeah.
he would be out and he would come back maybe just to eat something quick, but even a lot of times he just ate critters and stuff, and you want to see him for a while. But he was a cool cat. He would like climb trees and like get birds and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. It was insane.
It's funny, dude. People don't realize how versatile like a cat is in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a really little kid, before I moved into the house that I ended up growing up in, my parents had this cat named Fred, and Fred was a mean cat. He didn't like anybody except I think my mother. That was it.
Yeah.
And it was funny because it was originally my dad's cat. It was a gift to him, a wedding gift.
Mm-hmm.
And Fred killed a rabbit, big juicy cottontail rabbit, right?
Yeah.
And he actually brought it home and put it in his dish to save for later,
Yeah.
But in fact, Kodiak Kooz right there, he wounded a baby rabbit a few years ago. You ever hear a baby rabbit scream?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's messed up. In fact, when you coyote hunt, that's what you do. You use a dying rabbit call, and it's really horrific to listen to.
Yeah, it's not great. I remember Oliver my cat would always go after him.
Yeah, and it's the predators. They hear it and know it's an easy meal or whatever. But so me and my mother were sitting in the garage, and I hear that, and my mom goes, "What's that?" And in my head, I'm thinking, I go, "Mom, that's a dying rabbit. I know that sound." I go coyote hunting. And what do you know? Cash is the poor little dying rabbit. And
Cash.
I put it out of its misery, but you know. But you can't be mad at Cash. It's just his instinct,
That's what he does.
Like, I can't wait for you to see him pheasant hunt. It's truly amazing what this dog can do.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. And
it's funny because he's so friendly and, a great family dog, but when he's hunting, he's in the zone.
He's locked in.
And that's what people don't understand about animals,
Yeah, they're instinctual.
Right. They're made to do a certain thing, and that's like if a cat kills a mouse.
Yeah.
Or any type of animal, or any animal kills another animal. Let's say an eagle kills a cat. Now, I don't really know if eagles will kill a cat per se. They probably would. Eagles are pretty big, but which animal's right?
Yeah.
Neither, you know what I mean?
It's just
like, that's what they do.
Yeah, it's just a life.
Right, it's what they eat.
It's the cycle of life or whatever, yeah.
If we put a person in a situation like that, you got to eat this worm or a snake or you're going to die. Let's use a better example.
That's
a rabbit. Here's a rabbit. You have no food for 2 weeks. You can either let the rabbit live or you can kill the rabbit and eat the rabbit.
Yeah.
People are going to crack and eat the rabbit because that's what we're meant to do.
Right.
Tell that to PETA. They're really pushing for Puxatawny Phil to retire.
Are they?
Yeah, you didn't hear that?
No.
Like, dude, it's a groundhog. They treat it better than me and you are treated.
He's got his own little hut.
Once a year, he comes out of a hole and looks for a shadow.
Yeah.
I'll take that job. I'll switch.
And he's immortal.
You think so?
It's the same groundhog every year. Ever since the 50s or whatever.
Yeah, right. UFOs brought him in. How come also that, man? Everybody ignores that.
What?
Remember a few years ago, the U.S. government came out and actually acknowledged the fact that there's UFOs out there?
Yeah.
And that fighter pilot had footage of it, or it was released somehow.
Right, yeah.
And they're talking about it and how this thing defied the laws of physics and, moved faster than the speed of light and all this crazy stuff. Yeah. And nobody seems to care or know that was released. Like, what kind of world are we living in?
I mean, realistically, now that we know, like, what are you gonna do?
Buy a telescope
There's not much we can do
for a banging deal on Amazon, possibly. Don't go to Best Buy. I was there yesterday. Boy, that's pure robbery for a telescope.
Yeah, Best Buy prices usually aren't great.
Horrible.
Yeah, look for like sales there. Sometimes those are pretty good, but I'd never buy anything full price there. It's always a ripoff.
I feel like you go online. I hate shopping online, but it's probably cheaper.
Oh yeah, like all the cables and stuff, like HDMI cables, USB-Cs, whatever. At Best Buy, they're always like $20 to $50, but they're like $5 on Amazon.
Crazy.
Yeah. Cash. Oh, look at that tail. Look at that tail. Whack, 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 whack.
Cash, get the bird. Get the bird.
All right, but yeah. So earlier, mentioned doing a road trip, go see Cody in the summer. That was a lot of fun. My girlfriend, she was moving into Chicago for work for a year. And, which, shout out to her. Love you, proud of you, doing big things. But I was like, well, if I have to drive 8 hours to Chicago, I might as well just drive another 22 after that and go see Cody. So, it was really fun seeing like Chicago. I'm not like a big city guy, but
Me either.
you know, it was kind of cool, and it added a really interesting dynamic to the trip just to go from like Buffalo, kind of like a smaller city, into Chicago, which is like just crazy. I cannot believe that there's that many people in a small area. It's just like mind blowing. And then you go from that
To Butte,
to
America.
Butte. Yeah. So it was a really cool trip. I think probably my favorite part of the drive was going from Chicago to Deadwood in South Dakota. That was also the longest day I had, because the plan was I was going to go from Chicago to the Wall, South Dakota. I wanted to see the Badlands. You know, my dad kept saying my mom and dad kept saying they're really cool.
There goes Cash.
Yeah, he's out of here. He doesn't want to hear this.
Wow,
Sorry,
Cash.
Sorry, Cash.
Thanks for being a supporter.
But, you know, I think it was maybe like maybe like 12 hours from Chicago or something. It wasn't crazy. But I get there, I check it out. It's really cool. But there wasn't really like a great spot to stay, and I'm like, you know what? I'm only 2 hours from Mount Rushmore. So like I'll go there and check it out, and then I'll just find something around there. And, you know, by the way, Badlands were super cool. That was probably my favorite part of the trip. I've never seen anything like that. If I remember, I'll throw up some photos from when I was there. But really, just crazy. I want to go back and do like a week there and do like more hiking. And
Yeah.
I think that would be a cool video for us to do. But anyway, I went from the Badlands to Mount Rushmore, which, like I said, that was quick. That was only like 2 hours or something. And that was cool. I think it's a lot better in person. Like,
photos never do justice.
Because I was like, I got to do it just because I'm passing by it.
Yeah.
But, you know, just from the photos, I was like, it'll be neat to see. But when you get there and you really see this, like the scale of it, you're like, oh wow, no, like that's cool.
Holy
that's
Guantanamo
impressive.
Bay.
Yeah, you think about them like carving that, and you're like, how? How do you go about planning that? Like, it's crazy. But that was cool. So then it's like starting to get dark, and I noticed that I'm right near the, what is it, the Black Hills Forest or whatever that's right there.
National Forest.
Yeah. And I look up Sturgis South Dakota. My dad goes there for like the Mustang week or whatever they have there, and that's kind of like the area he's thinking about retiring to. So I was like, I want to see it, and I Google and I see there's like the Sturgis Motel or something, and it's like, I don't know, $80 a night, and I was like, I'll go grab that, have a shower, have a bed, and I drive there and I get there and I walk in and the building attached to it was all like boarded up and run down and stuff. I was like, I don't care, I'm not picky.
Yeah.
But I go in there and I was like, oh yeah, I just need a room for the night. And she's like, oh, okay, it's $125. And I was like, the website says 80. She's like, but yeah, this is like our
busy season.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I should have just booked it online then. So then I remember my parents talking about Deadwood, and I was like, okay, this is only another like half hour, 40 minutes.
Big gambling town.
Yeah. Cadillac Jacks.
Yeah.
But it was only like 30 or 40 more minutes from Sturgis, and at that point I had already been, because I took the detour through the Black Hills and was like driving around a lot, and at this point I was, keep in mind I left Chicago that morning, so I was driving about like 15 hours at that point.
Crazy. I could never do that. Like 11, maybe 12 hours, that's my limit. Anything past that, nope, no way. Setting up camp, boys.
Yeah, I think it actually was like 17 hours worth of stuff, but I think I was driving for like 15 or, I don't know, it was a lot. It was the most I've ever done, but, I get the Deadwood and I'm like, oh, this place looks kind of expensive. Like all the hotels above Cadillac Jacks.
A little bougie, you might say.
Yeah, a little bit.
Fair enough.
And I was like, ooh, this might hurt the wallet. And I go in there, and there's like 3 hotels above the casino, and I just went to the one, and I asked them, they're like, oh yeah, it's $100 for the night. And I'm like, done. Because it was like
sold.
Nice, yeah. So I went up and set my stuff down and came back to the bar and had some drinks, ate a little bit of food. And then I was going to like have the bed because, I still had to drive the Butte the next day. So as I'm going up the elevator, someone else comes in and I start talking and it's like, oh, like, how you doing? I was like, I'm, just tired, like, can't wait to get to bed. I'm like, I've been driving like 16 hours or whatever. And he's like, wow, like, trucking? And I was like, oh, no, like, I'm just going to go visit my buddy. And, like, we're talking a little more. He's like, so what are you hauling? And I was like, I don't know, my clothes.
A suitcase.
Yeah.
And myself.
I was like,
good you.
I was going to go visit my buddy. He got not trucking. And then I get off the elevator and he's like, stay safe, brother. Like, keep trucking. And, he was clearly very drunk, but it was funny. I just, I remember that.
That's like, or I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, yeah, just next day I got up into Butte. So do you want to say something before I talk about that?
No, I was just going to say, remember the first time we went to the Copper King Saloon in Butte?
Yeah.
And we met this very excited lady who let's say she had more than a few adult beverages that particular evening.
It was an interesting welcome to Montana.
Yeah. Real nice lady.
Oh, yeah.
But she kept thinking we were from Boston, Massachusetts. And we're like, mind you, we're there. Remember, we were there to watch the Bills game.
Yeah.
And
Boston, Buffalo.
It's funny, every time I saw her after that, she'd always ask me about Boston. I'm like, I don't know, I've never been there.
Yeah. But, yeah, so next morning I wake up, and because I drove a little bit longer that next day, I think it was only like 7.5 hours, 8 hours to Butte or something. Like, it wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
And that's when I drove through that 212, that really cool
Through
highway
East
with
Montana. Yeah.
The rolling hills and all that. That was funny. Every time I had to stop at like a gas station, because every time you see a gas station, you stop because it's not very frequent. But every time I get out and there'd be some people around and you could see them look at my plate and then look at me and look back at my plate and then look at me like they're trying to figure out like what the heck some random New Yorkers doing in the middle of nowhere, Montana. And, you know, not like, they didn't look malicious, they just looked like confused.
Yeah.
You know? And I thought that was funny. But I finally start getting back to, like, on the 90, which again was like Billings area. And I get in the Butte, and I think it was like 4 or something. So I know you were still at the office.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because you didn't get out until like 5 or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, like, hey, I'll come say hi quick before
Yeah.
I go back to your place and kind of throw my stuff down and sleep forever.
It's funny when you pulled into the parking lot. The guy I'm working with, I look at him, I go, see that car right there? He goes, yeah. And I go, that's my buddy. And he goes, no way. Like he thinks I'm messing around.
Yeah.
Because I always say that. We'll be driving down the road and I'll point at some random vehicle. I go, that's my buddy.
Yeah.
And then you walked in and you're like, dude. Dang, I miss Montana. Or you know what's funny to that license plate point? I lived there for a few months at that point.
Yeah.
And maybe 2 months before you came back to visit, I was getting in my truck, right?
Yeah.
And I have my 45 on my hip because you can open carry there.
Mm-hmm.
And the old guy next door comes out and he starts talking to me. You know, we're just BSing, whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, you gonna buy this house? I'm like, no, like just renting for now, blah, 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 blah. And he was the nicest guy ever,
Yeah.
you know? And obviously you're in Montana. They don't care that you're carrying a 45 on your hip,
no,
you know?
it's normal.
For those that don't know, Butte, Montana, they call it Butte, America. It's that American.
Yes.
Also, the Navy SEAL from, that killed Bin Laden's from there. Who's the other guy?
Evil Knievel.
Evil Knievel, which they, for the most part,
That
everyone
guy
I talked
from
to.
Modern Family is from there too, right?
Really?
I thought the one guy, Mitchell. I don't know his
I don't
actor's name. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I just fabricated that.
But it's funny, when you came back to visit, I never, like, talked to that guy. His name was Tim, actually, my old neighbor.
Yeah.
Like, he used to wave at me, you know,
Yeah.
like, spark up conversation when I got home from work or whatever.
Yeah.
And then once you came to visit and you rolled up with those New York plates, never again. I was on the guy's blacklist. I would see him, I'd wave at him, like, driving down the road, he'd just be like, ah.
Yeah, one day you were at work and, you know, I went hiking or something. Actually, it was the day I was disc golfing, which is a funny story. I'll tell that after this. But I got back and, you know, he looks at my car or whatever. He's out on the porch hanging out. And I, like, you know, back into your place there. And I wave and I go, like, how's it going? And, like, he just kind of looked at me and I was like, oh, maybe you didn't hear me. He's an older gentleman. And I'm like, how you doing? And he still didn't reply. And I was just like, oh. like, went inside.
Duly noted.
Yeah.
I'll kick rocks now.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, that was definitely funny. There was definitely people there that were, like, definitely very much judged me
Yeah.
from being from New York, which is like, what am I going to do about that?
Yeah.
But most people were definitely cool about it. Like, I remember the one time I was buying beer there, and I went in there, and he goes, New York, huh? And I was like, yeah, I know, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, dude. Like, he was like, I'm originally from Pennsylvania. He's like, I never had any interest in going there. And I'm like, yeah, like, I'm not from the city or nothing, but, like, still, it's not, you know, beautiful state, but we just, you know, other stuff.
And it's just strict. You
Yeah,
know?
right. Strict's a good word for it. And, you know, so there was a lot, most people were cool about it. They're like, yeah, go, like, check out other parts of the country. And
I remember I was renting a car, so for background or context here, I used to work at Enterprise, a really cool company, actually. I really did enjoy my time there. But I was renting a car to this guy, and he drove all the way up from Bozeman to get a car. And I don't know how it came up, but he asked me, a lot of people there ask you where you're from.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that move there, obviously. That's why it's so expensive now. But
Right.
the guy goes, where you from? I tell him, oh, Buffalo, New York. They automatically think New York City, so I have to go on a 20-minute rant. No, man, not New York City. That's about 8 hours away. But he goes, so you just moved here? And I go, yeah. He goes, like, how? I'm like, I don't know. I just packed my truck up, my buddy, and we just drove out here.
Yeah.
And he goes, that is really cool, man. He's like, so you don't know anyone here? I'm like, not really. But I ran into a lot of people like that. Or this really old dude. I thought he was going to, rip me a new one.
Yeah.
Be like, go back to New York or whatever. Yeah. And, super kind of aggressive demeanor at first. And then he goes, welcome. He's like, I've been here 50 years. I love it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So some people, I feel like, for the most part, are cool. Just.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, they, especially with COVID when everything went remote and they were just getting an influx of people from large cities or like places like California where you're still on your San Francisco salaries. You're making 250 grand where like average salary in Butte's probably about like 30 grand. And then you can just come in and be like, oh, you bid 100 for that house? Well, I'll pay 250 cash. Yeah. And it's like, like, what are you going to do?
Like our one...
I get that. Like, I would be annoyed, yeah.
Like our one, I don't want to call him our buddy, a gentleman we encountered who will remain nameless. Oh, yeah. But so me and Jared go to this bar. The first week we're there and we run into this guy and he's just telling us about how much money he makes. And it's like, really, dude? Yeah. Fantastic.
Like, I came here from California.
Yeah. Then it's like, of course you did. Yeah. Of course you did. And then I saw a guy put him in a headlock a few weeks after that.
Well, yeah, usually if you go around flaunting making a bunch of money to people who have kind of like struggled to make a living their whole lives, so they're not going to be very happy about that. He's like, I've bought several properties.
It's like, okay, congratulations, buddy.
But, so anyway, yeah, I was going to talk about the disc golf when I was...
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, so there's this really cool disc golf course that, I have this app, UDisc, and you can look up courses nearby to you. So I looked it up, and I saw there was one in, like, Thompson Park, like, 10 minutes from you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like, I gotta try it out. Like, it's gonna be cool disc golfing here, It's just entirely different terrain to what I'm used to. And I'm playing, and beautiful course, by the way. Like, really well maintained. Whatever the disc golf club is there that, like, keeps up with that, like, big props. Because that was a really fun course to play. But it was a 19-hole course. And I think I was on, like, 15. And it went from being, like, this really bright, beautiful, sunny day to, like, okay, now it's getting dark out. And I was like, I'm on 15. Like, if it rains on me a little bit, who cares, And then I get to, like, 16, and it starts to get really windy. And I'm like, I'm so close. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, when I'm on 17, and it gets really dark. Like, this is all in the span of, like, 15 minutes. Yeah. Like, I've never seen a storm, like, move in like this. And then I'm in the middle of playing 17, and it just starts hailing like crazy, and it's lightning and everything. And I'm like, ruh-roh. So I see, like, this big rock that was, like, kind of, like, shielding, and then right next to it was, like, a big, what's the trees there?
Pine tree.
Pine, yeah. And, it had the needles, and I'm like, okay, that'll be, like, some coverage. I don't know if hiding under a tree in a lightning storm is the smartest thing to do, but...
Better than being in a big field.
Yeah, so, I went and kind of, like, hunkered down behind the rock, and this was kind of shielding me from getting hit real hard. On my way there, I got bruised up from all the hail. But I looked down at my phone and I have a text from you because you were at work and you're like, dude, do you see all this hail? And I'm like, I'm in it. I'm like, I feel it.
It's funny because I had to go to like the Honda dealership to get a new windshield wiper blade for this car. And same thing. I'm like, dang, it's getting dark real quick. And I hop in the car and if you remember, for those that don't know, the dealership was really close to our office. And I literally pull out on the road and it just starts dumping hail. And, you can hear it like ting, ting, ting hitting in the front of the car.
Yeah.
And I pull into the dealership and I go, I'm going to text Jared. You send me a text back. Yeah, dude, I'm like hiding under a tree.
But, it kind of passed almost as quickly as it came.
Yeah, and it's weird out there. We get a lot of thunderstorms and same thing. Yeah. It would last like 20 minutes and then it'd be sunny out.
Which, honestly, like, it was a really cool experience. And it's like, I got to a safe spot. And like, I just love lightning and thunderstorms. It's some of my favorite stuff to like just watch or be out in. And that was like just totally different because you're on this mountain and it seems so close. And it's very, very cool.
And I think that's a thing a lot of people don't realize about the West versus the East is they have crazy hail out there.
Yeah.
Like, I think, where is it? The Dakotas, Kansas, East Colorado. Montana, it's not as bad, but crazy hailstorms, like golf ball-sized hail.
Yeah.
In fact, I think, at least when I was living in Montana, there was a big storm at the Red Rocks Theater in Colorado.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
People were going to the hospital. It was that bad.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, cut up bad, big bruises, people getting hit in the head. But same with the wildfire stuff. That was crazy.
Yeah.
It was in May, and we had to go to Bozeman for work. And I walk outside, and I thought it was fog. But then I smell it, I'm like, it smells like a bonfire. And this dude next to me is like, bro, it's a wildfire. And I'm like, no kidding. But crazy. We couldn't even, being in the valley, we couldn't even see the mountains. Yeah. That's how smoky it was, you know. But I never seen nothing like that,
Yeah, that's like almost like a post-apocalyptic feeling.
And it was also bear season. So bear season up there runs from like, I think it's April 1st. Depending on where in Montana you are, it runs a little longer, a little shorter. But generally, we'll just say like the end of May. So I'm texting my buddy and I'm like, bro, like we got to go out bear hunting because it's bear hunting there in early April is hard. There's a lot of snow still, obviously. But we were at the point now where most of the snow was gone. You can maneuver your way up and down mountains fairly easy, I guess. And my buddy was like, he's like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of smoke in the air. It's actually pretty dangerous to inhale that. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I didn't fail the first grade though, so.
You're like, maybe.
I'm like, I'm gonna.
That's when you just crawl on the trail.
Actually, you know what? I think a couple days after that, that's when I climbed this mountain and got covered in those ticks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I hate ticks, for those of you that don't know. Bugs don't really freak me out, but ticks do.
Yeah, they're kind of nasty.
They can really mess you up.
Well, that's the thing that's scary about them is like, if you get Lyme or something, it's like, you will feel those effects for like your life.
Yeah.
It's like, that's crazy.
I had a commander or a captain in the Army. She got bit by a tick.
Yeah.
And I don't know how she is now, but she was like really messed up a few years ago. Had to go to Mexico for experimental treatment, all sorts of stuff.
Wow.
But it really messed her up.
Yeah.
Luckily in the West, there's no Lyme disease.
I don't think there's, right?
No, I think it's called Rocky Mountain something disease. I don't think it's as bad. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. It's actually like 10 times worse.
Yeah.
You're like, uh-oh.
I'm like, ooh.
You're like, don't worry, it's a West Coast tick, and it's like, it bites you and you just like blow up like a balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that trip was just really cool. I'm glad it just worked out and my wife to be able to just take a month and
Yeah.
do that. That's a really cool experience to have, especially. I saw when I was driving through East Montana on that highway, and I stopped at this gas station, and there was a car there from like one of the Carolinas, and it had stuff written all over it, and it was like this married couple driving, just cross country, like hitting all this different stuff, and they were like 85, something like that.
That old, huh?
Yeah, and because now they're retired and stuff like that, and I was just like, man, I get to do this like when I was 26.
Yeah, like right now.
Yeah, which was just super cool. When I left Butte, I actually went down so I could see Yellowstone, which was cool. Like,
Yellowstone was a huge disappointment for me. I
it's
don't think I'll ever go back.
It's just so crowded,
Dude,
which made it hard to like do anything.
I was in traffic jams.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
bumper to bumper in the park.
Crazy. It's the biggest, I think it's the largest national park in the country, and there's probably more people in it than the entire state of Montana.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, it was, like I said, the geysers were really cool to see just because that's something, I don't know where else you would see that.
Yeah, I'd never seen anything like that before.
But it just quickly got drowned out with how many people were there. And how hard it was to find parking to do things.
Old Faithful.
Yeah.
I sat on top of this hill. Right behind it, it's a short hike.
Yeah.
It's only about, I think it's half a mile, maybe a mile. Mm-hmm. So I see the sign and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, this is easy. Mm-hmm. I do like triple this or quadruple this like every week anyway. Typically I go on like a 4 or 5 mile hike.
Right.
So I'm like, not too bad. Cool. It's close to like the parking lot. I could climb up to the top, watch the water shoot out of the ground.
Yeah.
And it's funny, all these people, they got their crazy expensive hiking gear, these big backpacks. Like, these people think they're going to get lost in, like, the woods, and going to have to live off the land and, like, crazy. People got bear spray, which I get, but, I mean, we're so close. Like, there's hundreds of people.
So many people. Yeah, they're not going to... They're going to be scared to go around there.
Yeah, if you hike on other trails where... you really got to walk back far, or not even just a trail that's not by Old Faithful. There's a giant parking lot and like a bunch of lodges.
Right, yeah.
You could see it from the trail, hundreds and hundreds of people. But so I don't know. I thought that was kind of goofy. Mm-hmm. Also, too, when I went there with my parents, it was to this waterfall, kind of like East Yellowstone. So not where the giant bomb is per se.
Yeah.
And by that I mean like the volcano.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of crazy? It's literally just a giant bomb.
Yeah.
But
it's like that 2012 movie.
Yeah.
Where, like, it erupts and the country gets destroyed.
But so me and my family, we were in the other part of the park. I think it's prettier in my opinion. It's more mountainous. Mm. And again, in Montana, you can conceal carry, open carry. You don't need a permit, whatever. You can have a loaded firearm in a vehicle. Yeah. So I always kept my .45 in the center console of my truck. Mm-hmm. And so I park my truck, open it up, grab my .45, holster it. And my sister goes, "Is that loaded?" I'm like, "Jessica, do you give a kid a toy with no battery?" But so we hike. It really wasn't a far hike. And we're at this waterfall, and this lady walks up behind us, and I could just tell her eyes are glued to my hip. Like, oh my God, he's got a gun. It's like, lady, there's animals out here that can kill you, Mm-hmm. This is the one part of the continental U.S. where there's actual predators out there that will, smell you, hunt you.
People talk about like bear mace and stuff, but it's like, that doesn't always work.
But pretty crazy. So I don't know if I'll ever go back to Yellowstone. Would you, or?
I think I would towards the very end of the season.
Like the fall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know my parents are going end of September this year.
Yeah.
And my mom was saying, like, when she booked it, that there's all these warnings saying, you know, food's going to be real limited because they stopped ordering stuff because they have to, you know, close up for the season.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's like, I don't care. Like, I'm not going to Yellowstone to, like,
Yeah.
have fancy
Lunch.
meals. Yeah. Just give me a PB&J and I'm good. You know?
Stop at the old Albertsons on the way there.
But I think I would go around that time. I really do want to go back to the Tetons, though.
Yeah.
So after Yellowstone, I just went a little south of the Tetons because my buddy AO told me, he's like, dude, you got to hit the Tetons. He's like, it's right there. Not as many people go there. Like, they just do Yellowstone and leave. And I was like, all right. And I'm really glad I did because I liked that way better.
Yeah.
It was a lot less busy. There were some really cool trails. Jackson Lake was just absolutely beautiful.
So that's close to Jackson Hole, right? That ski resort?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, like, that's part of, like, or, like, where a lot of people stay when they're going to the Tetons or
Dude,
like Jackson
we
Hole.
should have did Glacier National Park.
I kick myself for not doing Glacier.
Everyone, like, in Butte told me that's the one to go to.
Yeah.
Because just way less people.
Right.
Ooh, excuse me. Ooh, heartburn. Why do I always get heartburn?
They just chug a bunch of coffee.
That's true. I should probably learn to drink water. I've always been bad at that. Just like math and reading and writing. Nah, just kidding. I'm solid.
But yeah, I think it'd be cool to go to Glacier. I mean, this summer we're gonna do Acadia.
You know, it's funny. I've been telling people, I go, yeah, me and my buddy are going to Maine this summer. And they're like, really? Whereabouts? And I'm like, I have no idea.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not exactly sure where in Maine it is. I think it's like East Maine, like along the water, but yeah, I hear it's cool. I just remember, like, I don't know where I saw it, but it was Principe Trail or something like that. And it was this trail, real short trail. Like, I don't even know if it's a mile, but you kind of, like, scale up. They have, like, these metal rungs and stuff just, like, into the rocks. You scale up it, and then you, like, shuffle along real, like, narrow passages and stuff like that. And I was like, like, where is this? And then it was, like, Acadia, Maine. And you know, I was like, well, Maine's not far, and I looked it up, and it was only like a 10-hour drive.
Yeah,
like,
we could do that in one day.
Yeah, like take a Friday off of work or something.
And honestly, if we left at like 3 a.m,
yeah, you'd have like the whole day.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. So I think that would be cool. Just because I've always wanted to check out Maine too. I know there's some cool like disc golf courses there.
I think it's one of the states that has the most wilderness in it.
Yeah.
Which is weird because, you know, you'd think Colorado or something. But
yeah,
I think, I don't know the exact statistic, but most of Maine, it's all wilderness.
When I was like in between jobs before I got this one, and I was like thinking, what do I want to do? I like was looking at jobs in Maine, and there's some small coastal town, and I applied for a job where like you just like pick seaweed, something like that. I was like, that sounds kind of cool, but did not hear back.
Very off topic,
Yeah.
but we have to make sure we get our Canadian fishing license. Well, actually, you won't unless. Are you gonna fish?
Probably not.
I think
I just want to focus on, but I do kind of want to catch a steelhead.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
No, so
Which
we got
context?
Huh?
Context for the people.
Right. So we got a cool fishing trip planned, fishing charter. We're gonna go in the lower Niagara and catch steelhead. When is it? The 16th?
Yeah.
Yeah, March 16th. So, but no, we need to get on that like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because it can take like 2 weeks for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta do that. I need to get my U.S. fishing license.
Oh, that's not bad. We should have. Oh,
You can just print them out. That's what I did last time.
Oh.
You like sign up on like the New York State website, and
you can buy it online.
Yeah, and then you can just
Man.
print it out.
The world's changing. Crazy. It's
Yeah.
like today we went to the Lego store and the cash register was this guy's telephone.
Yeah, he was just on his cell phone. Like,
That was weird.
Boop, boop, boop. I was like,
It's like you texting your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Buddy? What are we doing here?
and I realized he was scanning the stuff, and I was like, huh.
Peculiar.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, thanks for tuning in here. Make sure you hit subscribe, like, comment down below, and keep up with our adventures. We got a lot of cool stuff planned, like we've been talking about. We got some camping, some Walmart survival challenges, canoeing, kayaking. We're going to explore some shipwrecks here in the next few months. What else? Fishing, like we said. We got a lot of cool stuff planned, so make sure you guys tune in next time. Jared, any last words?
No, sir. Cash. Kodiak Cash.
He's like, scratch my belly.
You want to say something, buddy?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Not even
Maybe
a
next time.
not even a yablika.
Not even a yarmulke.
Dang.
Well, thanks for watching. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to make podcasts like a regular thing just right now. I'm doing some traveling next week, and it's going to be hard to film, but if you guys like this kind of thing where we're just having conversations, let us know. Maybe we'll make it a regular thing. But thanks for watching.
Tune in next time, guys.